I remember one of the girls for talking to me in, I want to say, Boston, New York, the Bronx, down over that area. I was pregnant, and the company didn't know what to do with me, so they kind of let me go. They got in trouble for it because they didn't fire me. Basically, they kind of forced me to quit, and I left. And I was out at the Bronx over there. The lady was talking to me, and she said, your chest is going to get as big as you want, so you don't need to worry about that. And if you can suck on your own, even better. I looked at her and just started laughing. I said, I've already been through that. She just looked at me and smiled. There's a lot of stuff that happened over the years about that. And now, people don't even really know that happened to me. Kind of nice. I always wondered what would have happened if Mom would have made me a girl instead of a unisex. I'm not a transgender. I was born that way. That's the funny part about it. And Lenny used to tell me, well, no, nobody's going to know the difference unless you say something. Right? It's true. They didn't. I need that plastic bag. I need it to not... Oh, come on. Why did I lock the door? I was going to fall asleep. Why did I bring it in here anyway? Well, that's M&M's. That's not my, that's my product. It's my munchies. I put that other of those bank accounts in the same place. Ooh. Oh no, they're all melted. Throw them out. Sick of them anyway. Cats can't eat them. The animals can't eat them. Trash can could eat them. So anyway, like I said, it's been a trip. But what do you expect? I'm not the only one. I'm just one of the ones that survived.
Question of all, who controls Congress, after the votes are counted on election day and the days thereafter, because if you have a Democratic-led Congress, number one, Kamala Harris is going to be the one presiding over the January 6th session where they count electors. And so even if she had to introduce a slate backed by a state legislature, there's no universe in which Congress is going to count that alternate slate for Donald Trump in a state where Harris was the popular vote winner. It just doesn't compute. And so if Democrats control the House, and even if they narrowly lose the Senate, but you have senators like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski and others who have been averse to these efforts by Donald Trump, you are not going to see this plan go anywhere. If you have a Republican House, that's when you get into some of these sort of wilder scenarios where this effort could still succeed.
The final date in your timeline is January 6th. Close listeners of the podcast may recall what happened 4 years ago on January 6th. What would an attempted steal look like on January 6th, 2025?
So, assuming you have a Republican Congress, assuming all these other steps in the process go as we sort of, again, very hypothetical for many reasons, but that's when you get wild scenarios. It depends on who's the speaker. Is Mike Johnson going to be speaker again? But let's assume that he is the speaker and that he is totally on board with any effort by Trump to continue challenging the election as late as January 6th. Well, then you have to have a situation where Mike Johnson says the federal law that passed in 2022 to prevent these election challenges, I don't think it's constitutional. I don't think it binds Congress. Because if it does bind Congress, then we have to basically accept the results certified by the governors. If we don't accept that it binds Congress, then we have a much messier situation where we may have to think about these legislatively endorsed electors. We may not have to accept the process for challenging electors and which ones we're supposed to accept. We can actually prevent Congress from counting electors for Kamala Harris. And if we prevent either candidate from reaching 270 electoral votes, then the election goes to the House. But in a weird sort of way, where instead of just a majority vote, it's actually a vote by state, where each state gets one vote. And that process favors Republicans pretty heavily. And so that's the scenario. That's sort of the ultimate capper on this. If you get to that contingent election, they call it, you probably have a Donald Trump presidency.
Coming up, the plan to let's not do any of this, please.
Today Explained is supported by Progressive Insurance. 4 walls and 4 tires protected. Customers can customize their insurance needs and protect what's important by bundling home and auto today. More at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
12:22 walked in.
Today Explained is supported by BetterHelp, committed to making mental well-being a
14:45
priority and offering support in taking on everything life demands.